But I promised that child, I promised him in that moment that I was going to do every single thing that I could to be a positive male role model for him and my community, so that one day, I don't know the kid's name, I don't know if he's alive, where he's from, but that one day he would watch STEMedia live or some event that I was at and would see another path that was possible for him.
What's going on, fam? It's me. Welcome to STEMedia Live. Y'all give me some hearts. I appreciate the hearts coming in the building. That's right. This is STEMedia Live. This is the place where we chat with some of the most inspirational and creative people in the STEM community. I'm excited, y'all. Y'all know I'm excited. I'm always excited. Why am I excited? Because today is no exception. We got my man, Jay Flores, coming in the building, coming onto the show tonight. I love everything he's doing. You're going to love it too if you haven't heard of him. He believes in the power of STEM. The power of STEM is what Jay Flores advocates, and he believes that it can help young girls and boys become superheroes, solve big and little problems, and contribute their best ideas to improve our planet. As a global STEM ambassador and founder of Invent the Change LLC, Jay knows just how important STEM is to the future of the world. He's spreading the word through his energizing presentations and outreach to schools, community groups, and industry's experts. As a keynote speaker, Jay is masterful in connecting STEM to everyday life and motivating students to become tomorrow's innovators. Let's give it up. Let's give it up, people. Let's give it up. There he is. There he is. Jay Flores is in the building. Welcome back to STEMedia Live.
Thanks, man. You said you're trying to match my energy. I love being on lives with you because you take it to the next level on Instagram Live and all the platforms that you're on. So you help me get even more pumped about what we're doing.
For sure, man. For sure. Listen, I think you are a person, whoever I see, I get energized by. Because like you always got this smile, man. You never look like it's like, another Monday. You never had that Monday morning look. You always have that, yo, we about to go and conquer the world look, man. So I just kind of send that right back to you, man. It's pretty mutual.
I appreciate it, man. Lots of love.
I'm going to ask you a question that we asked last time.
Yep.
We're going to kick it off again this way by asking you to give us a random fun fact about yourself. People who don't know you or even heard your bio wouldn't expect to hear.
Yeah, so I had a pretty cool experience. The last time we talked, I had a girlfriend, and now we're married. But the fun fact in between there is that I proposed on national television on Telemundo, so I was on this show. It's called EXATLON. It's on Telemundo. It's like a mix of Ninja Warrior and Survivor. And you're out there for months competing. It's an athletic competition first, but they painted me as like the STEM guy. Like that was my character, like the guy that's smart but also athletic. And so it was a really cool fit for both of my passions because I'm super passionate about sports and also obviously about STEM. When you're out there, you don't have any connection to your phone. You don't even have a watch. Like we didn't know what time of the day it was unless if you like asked. Like you're completely separated from the rest of the world. In 6 weeks, I had only had a 5-minute video call with my fiance or with my girlfriend at the time, and we had to win that. We had to earn that. Like that's how little communication we had. And during
you had to earn the phone call. It was like basically you had to win in order to give her a call.
Yeah, it was like one of those team prizes that as a team we won 5-minute video call with them. Other than that, like at the first day you put your phone in a Ziploc bag and you give it to them and you say bye to all technology and communication and everything. So it was really tough. And I like when I proposed to her, I was saying, because we also won a family visit. So that was very unique. It only happened this season. They brought one family member from all of our team members. And what I said when I proposed was basically like during this experience, I learned what it is to I learned that I could live without a phone. I learned that I could live without warm water, without a watch, like without all these things. And then I said, but like basically I also learned I can't live without you. And
you had everybody just tune in, and you had her. I'm sure she was blushing and everything.
Yeah, it was great, and so it was a good experience. I was so nervous that I put the ring on her finger before she even said yes officially. But that was just a cool experience, a different, unique thing, and a part of kind of our journey together. She's also an engineer. She's an industrial engineer at Accenture. We met at a SHIP regional conference. And we had been dating for a long time. So I was pretty sure she was going to say yes, but a rejection on national television, that would have been pretty difficult.
How did you end up on TV? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like, give us the origin story of how you even went about getting on a show like this.
I feel like everything that we have in terms of success and big moves like that, people often just think it kind of happened like in a snap, right? And I don't know if I heard this somewhere, if I made it up, so I can't take 100% credit for it. But basically I said something along the lines of the overnight successes of the world weren't born yesterday, right? Like it didn't just happen overnight. And so they actually reached out to me in season 1. And it was because of all the things I was putting out on social media about both my athletic passions and my STEM passions, because they were looking for people that were well-rounded, that were good role models for the community. But it was the first season, and I didn't really know what to expect. And what I had heard about, you know, athletic competition shows like that on TV, I thought of like the real world, like the drama, the drinking. And I was like, that's not the kind of, you know, message I want to put out there to the community. So I said no. And then I watched it and I saw it was, okay, this is a family show. It's focused more on the competition and the challenges than it is on any drama or alcohol. It actually didn't really let us drink. We had 1 or 2 parties that we won, and they would like monitor us. They give us like 1 beer. Also, because again, we weren't drinking during that whole time and stuff like that. So it was Survivor-ish in the sense that we were either living in a mansion or the cabin. And you had to compete against the teams to see who would live where. And so like the cabin, we were in the Dominican Republic. And so the cabin didn't have air conditioning. We had 1 bathroom for 10 people. It was like a little 1-room cabin, basically, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the hot Dominican Republic. So that was rough. But we didn't have to like hunt our own food like they do on Survivor. So it wasn't to that extreme. And same with Ninja Warrior. It was an athletic competition, but it was designed more for like who's faster. Like everyone can complete the course, but it's like more of an agility thing. And so it was, you know, that combination. I was out there, I made it to week 12 of 14. So you're out there for a long time and you don't have that connection to the rest of the world. So it really was a detox from everything, social media, from everything, communication. And I say that in a good and a bad way, because the relationships we built out there in days, we were family. And it's because you have no other distractions. It was eat, sleep, compete, and talk to each other. That was all you could do. Couldn't talk to anyone else. And so it was just cool to see that. But you also see the benefits of technology, obviously, and social media and all the good ways we use it in the world. So it was a wild experience, and it's just given me a bigger platform to be able to share my message with the kids. I went back right after to Milwaukee, where I grew up. And man, the kids were just so pumped. Like I walked into an auditorium and they started screaming. I was like, man, this is what I wanted, was to show that, you know, people that do this kind of stuff can also do really great things in the regular world too, and showcase that there's a lot of really cool things that they can do with STEM and other great things other than just what we were doing on TV.
A couple of things are very interesting about you, in my opinion, right? One, you're from Wisconsin. You know, you went to the University of Wisconsin, got a mechanical engineering degree, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you went to work for Rockwell Automation automatically, right?
Yes.
Yes. So Rockwell Automation, talk a little bit about the position and the career you had, because, you know, I think it started as a traditional engineering job and then kind of formed to something else, and then even ended up with the flexibility to go on this show. So talk a little bit about that.
First of all, Rockwell Automation is one of the biggest blessings I have had in my life outside of my family and my support system. Because Rockwell was a company, was there when my parents kind of got me to high school degree and I was ready to take that next step of being the first engineer in the family. Rockwell was the company and the organization that was doing the outreach that helped me understand that was possible for me and put me in a position to succeed. Rockwell had absolutely incredible outreach programs for high school students and really good investments in Milwaukee Public Schools, in some of the summer programs that were at the University of Wisconsin, that really put me in a position to be able to persist through those things I was telling you about earlier when, you know, the calculus was challenging and all those moments, right? So I did engineering summer program that they sponsored. And through that, Rockwell was looking for Milwaukee Public School students that wanted to study engineering that were going to go to either Milwaukee School of Engineering or University of Wisconsin-Madison. And they paid for my entire education. They gave me a full ride scholarship with internships included if I wanted, and there was zero commitment. I could have taken the money, taken the internships, and then said, actually, I want to go work for NASA, or I want to go do this other thing. So it was absolutely incredibly unselfish relationship, genuinely, like with the overall mission of just increasing diversity in STEM from students coming out of that community. Because of that, because of the company culture, because of the experiences that I had with internships with them, I decided I ended up, that's the place where I wanted to be. I did do a couple internships with GE Healthcare just to see, you know, again, test out other industries, test out the water in other companies. But ultimately, Rockwell, I knew was the place that truly cared about my long-term growth and not just how I could fill in that first initial position. And I noticed that in the interviews. I could tell that, hey, this company is asking me questions about my long-term goals and not just drilling me about what I know for this first position that they're going to put me in. So whenever you're interviewing with a company, whether it's for internship, but especially for full-time, make sure that that company cares about your long-term growth and success, because that's where you're going to thrive. Whether the other company pays you a little bit extra at the beginning or has free lunch or whatever, like in the long term, that's cool. But caring about your career growth is even more important. And so that's what led to this, what we're about to go into. So I started out as a technical sales representative, technical sales engineer. I was really into being with the product in the industry, where it was in its final place. I enjoyed some of like the design aspects of mechanical engineering, but I really wanted to be with the moving parts out there on the manufacturing floor. So I had a really cool 3 years in that role. I had a territory in South Florida. I had customers like Coca-Cola. I got to see Mercedes-Benz make cars. I got to really see how everything was made, and that was one of the really cool parts of my career there. And that gave me really cool examples to be able to share with kids. And so when I would go out and I would do outreach, I would talk about these real life examples about how things are made, things that they understood and cared about, and could kind of paint the picture for them. And I started doing all this extra outreach the whole time because that's what helped me get into that position in the first place. And I was always doing stuff like that. I was involved heavily with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and ultimately ended up doing a TED Talk for youth in STEM. So one of our vice presidents got a hold of that TED Talk, and we were at the first Robotics World Championship, and she goes like, I saw your video, and you're like our STEM ambassador, and that's great. And we both were kind of like, that should be a thing. And it took a little while, but we put some thought into it. We built out a kind of like a business plan behind it, like why it was important for not just my development, but for the company and the future of our recruiting, the future of our branding and marketing and all those things. And there was a big enough need for talent in the future. I had certain unique skill sets with public speaking, with understanding how to reach youth on their terms, understanding the recruiting process, all that kind of stuff was just this perfect storm. And so we created a role that didn't exist before, I don't think anywhere in the industry as global. In the industry, a lot of companies would have someone that's maybe in community relations that would do some STEM stuff, but it was usually like the philanthropy side, the donations. It wasn't the strategy. It wasn't the how do we get these students into the door? How do we build the talent that we need for the future? And how do we connect with them? How are we on social media and branding ourselves and communicating to these students directly where they want to be communicated and in those ways? And my advice to all you out there that want to do something similar, like you're talking about that you're doing some of this work, is just get out there and do it. Do it for free. Go out there, pour your passion into organizations. Specifically, look at the organizations that the company you're working for really cares about. It may seem like overnight I got this really cool opportunity and I did it for 5 years, but it started with a presentation that was terrible. My first presentations to high school students were basically reading my resume to them. They were the worst. and that evolved into really cool things.
Reading your resume, I can imagine that. I can imagine that being pretty bad. Like, dude, okay, what's your point? And
the cool thing though is what evolved into what I do now is that I was gonna go read my resume to some kids in Madison, and on the bus ride there I found out that I was actually going to a group of elementary and middle school students and not high school students. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be bad.
You had to switch it up. You had to switch it up though.
Figure something out in like the 15-minute bus ride. And I had an iPad and I had a data plan for the iPad at the time. So I just started like Googling stuff, and I got an advertisement for The Dark Knight. The movie was coming out at that time, and I was like, oh, like I want to say, holy shnikes. That's what I can say right now. Holy shnikes. Like, Batman doesn't have superpowers. Batman is an engineer, like leverages technology to solve his problem, which is fighting crime. So I was like, all right, I'm going to talk about superheroes. I'm going to talk about cartoons and movies and like Power Ranger watches. Like I got my running watch on right now. Like, because I used to have one of those Power Ranger watches, and I would think like this would be so cool if I could actually talk to my friends with this. And that's where it really sparked to me. Like, I need to meet these students where they're at. I need to talk to them in areas and topics that they care about and show them the STEM behind it.
Earlier this year, maybe January, you said, I just left my dream job. And in effect, you were telling us that you had decided to take the leap from this full-time employee to doing your own thing, man, your own thing. And so Invent the Change, you already mentioned the name of your company, but you made the jump. You made the jump. And I know a lot of people are watching this that maybe think about making a jump or are just really wondering the story behind that. So let's talk about making that transition.
One of the key things is that when you're getting ready to leap, you're going to have those moments where you're like, you look over the edge and you're like, no, like, this is crazy. This is insane. Like, I don't know everything I need to know. But that's okay. Like, the part of just life in general, technology, especially in the STEM fields, like, it's about exploring and understanding how things work and creating things that have never existed before. And so a big part of it was just being comfortable with the fact that I'm going to be at the edge of my comfort zone probably for a while, and recognizing that that's a good thing, and that's where growth is going to come. That's where the most success is going to come. And that's what's going to make it worth it in the long run. Even though it's scary, it's what's going to make everything worthwhile. And so there are just a couple of pieces of advice in that process. When you're truly, like, if just the question you need to ask yourself about it is, am I truly passionate about this? Is this the thing that I love, that I'm going to drive towards, even if it isn't the best right away? Because you might have a roller coaster, you might have some rocky times. It might go great right away, but you need to be okay with those ups and downs. And if you're passionate about it, you're going to be okay, and you're going to persist, you're going to push forward. And in the end, you're going to look back and be like, okay, that wasn't that bad. This was actually really good. The other thing was I had a couple opportunities because, you know, Rockwell didn't want to completely let me go, to stay on and start building the business. And like, I was like, no, I need to commit my heart, my everything to this, because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to bring to the world. And if I don't put my full heart into it, my community, the people that I'm trying to impact aren't going to get the full benefit of what I can provide to the world.
But Angelica asks this question. She says, how did you find your passion? And I'm going to add to that question and say, is that process different than how you discover your business model for your company? So how did you find your passion? And then is that the same process that you found your business model?
I'm going to have to think a little bit about that second half of the question. That's deep. I like that.
Okay.
So the passion is interesting because it stems from several different areas. Early on, like, I think I was like 18 or 19. I saw a 4-year-old kid being told by their family, surrounded with gun in the air, that the kid was going to be a Cobra, which is a gang in Milwaukee at the time. And so this student, from the time he's 4 years old, is being told that the right thing, the future of your life that's going to be great is gang life. And that just, like, in that moment, I just wanted to grab the kid and run and do whatever I could. Obviously, I couldn't do that with people. Like, one, you can't kidnap kids, and two, there's guns. But I promised that child, I promised him in that moment that I was going to do every single thing that I could to be a positive male role model for him and my community, so that one day, I don't know the kid's name, I don't know if he's alive, where he's from, but that one day he would watch STEMedia Live or some event that I was at and would see another path that was possible for him, or that someone else that I inspired would connect with him at some point and be driven to see the other possible things that are out there for them. Or just other kids that are in the similar situation could see that other path. And so I just got really passionate about being out there in my community and doing whatever I could to serve as a role model. I'm also the oldest sibling and oldest cousin in the family, so I've always tried to be a good role model for my cousins. And that then led towards STEM and the path that I was taking in engineering and learning and doing outreach and stuff. So it was just this ultimate fuel to every day do something that hopefully would reach that child. And since I don't know the kid, I don't know his name, it's a lifetime mission, because that, you know, who knows when the moment will be that I can inspire that child and others. And then I just found STEM as the best path to do it. One, because I love it. Two, because I think it's just a great way to elevate our community, to elevate the world. And that's where it grew from. And so how does that tie to kind of my business model and what I wanted to do?
Because you got to make money, right? Like, you know, sometimes people is like, follow your passion, but it's like, is it always profitable, or like, you know, or does it sometimes require a vehicle or some sort of like model in order to continue to make a living? So talk about that.
So if it's truly your passion, if it's truly your why, if you're truly investing your full heart into it and doing it in the best way that you can, there will be money in it eventually. It's whether you are willing to go through the times when you're doing it for free, when you're doing it completely as a volunteer, or you're even spending your own money, that is going to determine those people that end up getting paid for what they love, and those that end up doing just the same thing that they've always been doing and wishing they could be doing that other passion. There's people that make millions of dollars on TikTok talking about, I don't know, peanut butter, like you know, whatever it is that they're passionate about, but they're the best and the most passionate and the most creative about peanut butter. And so I wanted to go out there and be one of the best Hispanic role models in STEM, and expanded that to then, when I had a global role with Rockwell, to being the best spokesperson for STEM and robotics in the world. And because I was continuously out there about it, because I was so passionate about it, growing and getting better from that first speech with a resume to now leveraging, you know, events with thousands of students at it, is what allowed me to then turn it into that. And so I think one of the key things that I do with my business and with my brand, it's not magic, it's science, is I take what I learned about my passion and my journey and understand that I need to reach the passion of the children too. So I lead with passion first. What are you excited about? What do you love? Let's find the STEM behind that instead of leading with STEM.
In your presentation, how does your culture and heritage come out as you perform and present? Like, talk a little bit about that.
I think it's important. And I saw a really funny thing from a comedian recently, that in Hispanic and African culture, there's been a lot of really important mathematical achievements, engineering achievements, things like the pyramids, both in Africa and in South America, in Mexico, that are absolutely incredible. But for some reason are always justified with the fact that they got help from aliens.
Aliens, I know, right? Like, why gotta be aliens? What?
And the funny thing from the comedian is like, what? So aliens don't like people from Europe or Australia or like Asia because they didn't get no pyramids or whatever. Like, I don't know what it was, but like we tend to forget how incredibly STEM rich our culture is because of all the challenges that have happened. And I want students to see that, and also to just to look forward, regardless of what has happened in history, to fuse it into part of who we are. That Hispanics are not just known for being familia and for being hard workers, but we're also known for being innovators, and that we can be coders and, you know, and people that do really cool things with robotics. Absolutely, you know, just help them understand that this is a part of our culture and our future. Like, that's what I want us to be known for. And where I come from, Puerto Rico, I mean, we've had artists like Ricky Martin, like Bad Bunny, that have transcended the entire world. I was in Singapore for a STEM event with First Lego League, and the lady was listening to reggaeton and didn't speak a word of Spanish. But that's how crazy like our culture has transformed the world. And I want us to do that in STEM too. And so it is a super important part of my right here, my STEM identity.
I love it. I was going to ask you about that too.
I have merch and stuff that I try to put out there. Like I have some shirts that spell out Latino, Latina, and Black with the periodic table of elements. You can spell out those 3 words and stuff like that, just to help people show their own passion for STEM, and then help young kids see themselves in that future as well. It's super important. It's
not magic, it's science. We talked about it a little bit, hinted towards it. I didn't realize that it came about when kind of the world shut down during the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders and all that. Yeah. So let's talk about that brand. It's not magic, it's science. It's a show. You're the host of it, and you have a vision for the future of it. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's another leadership lesson in life and entrepreneurship lesson, etc. When the world shut down, I had just come back from first events in Mexico and Brazil. I was having the time of my life, in front of thousands of students in multiple countries around the world. And I had this really cool schedule planned out. It was going to be the best year as a STEM ambassador ever. And then it was just like nothing. You can't travel. You can't go to events. You can't do anything. You can't be in front of kids. And I was like, and everyone was talking about how the lockdown month was going to be like the worst month ever. And I was like, I don't want to have the worst month ever. So what I figured is like, even if the world is shut down, I can still have the best month ever in like 1 or 2 areas. Like you can still have a really good month in certain things that we can still do. I was actually going to write a STEM book, and I realized how bad I was at writing, and like I'm more of a video person. So I had to, like, that was an epic fail, and I had to shift the next, and I
pivot.
Okay.
You pivot.
Yeah, I pivoted, and I was like, let's do video. Let's do TikTok, because that's where kids are at. So I downloaded TikTok. I started learning about it, and I put It's Not Magic, It's Science out there on TikTok. And it went, it did really good. I got millions of views on TikTok. It did really well on other platforms too. Like LinkedIn was really good for parents and wanting to get their kids to do the experiments at home. I just became kind of like that homeschool science teacher for families during that time, and it led to a lot of really good success and partnerships and cool things. So taking that crazy moment and just pivoting and ended up finding something even better.
Right.
So when you're having those moments or those roadblocks or those challenges, just look around, try something new. You never know what's going to happen. In terms of the future, we just did some really cool ones with Cedar Point. So taking it from my kitchen during quarantine to an amusement park that they had me in the whole day. Like I had to myself the whole park. We did experiments instead of in my kitchen outside of roller coasters, and I got to ride the rides and talk about the science of the experiment and how that connected to the roller coaster. So doing it at the amusement park allowed the exploration episode to also take it to the next level, because I could actually show you the science instead of just talking about it in my kitchen. So I want to do more of those cool partnerships where, like, I don't know, we talk about outside of like a Ford plan, and we talk about self-driving cars and all that cool stuff, or just really cool science connections to it. And also the experiments that we have now are designed as magic tricks. So it's science experiments designed as, or disguised as magic tricks. And so eventually I'm going to run out of experiments that look like magic. So I need to think about how I take that to the next level. Part of it is the partnerships. Part of it is I want to make like a reboot of how it's made. If you watch how it's made, it's pretty dry, actually. And if you're not already kind of interested, it might not.
It's not grabbing you. It's not going to grab you. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I chose magic for several reasons. One, it's inclusive. No matter whether you're a boy, you're a girl, you're rich, you're poor, you're old, you're young, you're black, you're white, anybody can connect to magic and be kind of like mind blown by it. There's no real like barrier to interest in magic. And then also it's something, I wanted something that people who weren't already looking for STEM content would be drawn in by. Because it's great if the mom or the student or the parent or the teacher or the dad that was already looking for that finds my stuff.
Right.
But I want to get the families that aren't already getting this stuff in front of their kids, because those are the ones that are going to get most inspired and have that big like, kind of needle moving moment. And so I want to reach those students that aren't having those connections. Biggest tip I can give you guys is to always lead with the heart. Always lead with the passion, no matter what it is. My nickname on the show we were talking about earlier was actually Corazón de Oro, which means heart of gold. What the production loved about everything I did was it was, again, focused on the kids. It was focused on my community. So on the little description that they wrote of me when production was looking through the different cast people, they wrote heart of, like, engineer something with a heart of gold. And from day one, before I even started the show, that was the nickname that they gave me.
The nickname.
And I love that, and that's what I try to lead with, is lead with the heart. Connect the strings to the mind. Obviously, you got to make good decisions, but this is what should drive you. And it might not be the best decision financially initially, but that's why you can do it as a volunteer. You can do it as a side gig. But if you truly follow it, if you truly put your full heart into what you're trying to accomplish, if you keep growing and learning and making mistakes and getting better and getting feedback, allowing constructive criticism and really taking it in, you will get paid for what you love eventually. It might take some time. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of ups and downs, but you'll get there. And then for the kids too, or whoever you're trying to reach, even if you're working with adults or college students, whatever, lead with the heart there too. People care more, they're going to remember how you made them feel. And when you lead with the heart, when you speak from the heart, that's what's going to be most genuine. You might stumble on your words, you might make mistakes. As long as you were genuine and it came from the corazón, that's not going to matter in the long term. So just get out there and do it. Lead with the heart and inspire some kids.
There you have it, fam. There you have it. Jay, from the bottom of my heart, man, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you for coming back on. I can't wait to like save this and post this onto the page because we haven't. You are indeed an inspiration. I really mean that. And man, I just look forward to more connection, more communication as we both build our businesses. And you're right, like something that has been 17 or even plus years in the making, one day it's going to continue to blossom and be beautiful. And it's already blossoming in many ways. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, man. Let's get connected soon. Anyone else that wants to connect and let's make moves in this space. Let's do it. And keep spreading the word, the love. I appreciate you, brother, so much.